Welcome to our deep dive. We're going all in on a topic that just oozes with emotion and, yeah, probably a little bit of nervousness too, and hopefully a big old yes at the end of it all. The marriage proposal.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. Proposals, they really are these moments that you just, you don't forget. They stick with you. It's like a potent cocktail of excitement, maybe a touch of those pre-proposal jitters, and of course that leap of faith, for both people involved.
100%. So whether you're someone who's thinking about getting down on one knee sometime soon, or maybe, like me, you're just someone who finds this whole world of romance and commitment and all of that just utterly captivating, well, stick with us because we're going to break down what actually makes a proposal truly meaningful.
That's exactly what we're here for. We're going to delve into that deep emotional weight these moments carry. Because a proposal, when it's done right, it's not just about popping the question. It's a way to really fortify that bond you have with your partner. And of course, we'll also navigate that always fascinating territory where timeless traditions bump up against modern expectations.
And for all of you listening out there, we're going to try to get inside your partner's head a little bit.
Yeah.
What are they thinking as they contemplate this massive step? Is a big over-the-top gesture always the way to go? How much does the ring really matter? And in this day and age, should the whole thing be a complete surprise?
And once we've tackled all of that, we'll move on to the more practical side of things. We're going to give you a step-by-step roadmap to planning a proposal that feels, well, authentic to your relationship, something that feels right. This includes figuring out the timing, picking a spot that really means something, deciding whether to go for a private moment or a more public declaration, and even navigating the sometimes complicated world of engagement rings, if that's something you're thinking about. Oh, and we'll also touch on how to actually put those heartfelt words together, and even the part people often forget about, how to capture the whole thing so you can look back on it.
And to get those creative juices flowing, we're going to dive into some unique and inventive proposal ideas. We'll cover the classic romantic stuff, of course, but also some unexpected and personalized approaches, and even the whole destination proposal thing.
And last but not least, because let's face it, knowing what not to do is just as important, we'll flag some of those common proposal pitfalls that can trip people up. We'll help you steer clear of those potential heartache zones.
So if you're ready to really explore the art, the heart, all of it, when it comes to proposals, buckle up and let's get started.
Okay, let's jump right in here. Why does a proposal even carry so much weight? At the end of the day, it's just a question, right? But it feels like it's carrying this massive amount of meaning and importance.
Yeah, you're right. On the surface, it's a simple question. But underneath all of that, there's this really powerful emotional current. It's like a declaration, a way to say to the world, hey, we're serious about this, we're in this together, and we're ready to build a future side by side. It's a turning point, a deliberate shift towards a deeper level of intimacy and working towards those shared life goals you have as a couple.
That makes total sense. It's like taking that unspoken understanding you have as a couple and giving it like this concrete form, making it real. And I can see how a proposal, if it's thought out, can actually make a relationship even stronger. It says, I put effort into this, I care about you, and I get you. Exactly. It screams thoughtfulness and care and that willingness to go the extra mile to make this moment special for your partner. And that, in and of itself, can really deepen your connection and build trust. Plus, it becomes this shared story, a cornerstone in your relationship's history that you'll reminisce about for years to come.
Now, it seems to me like there's this delicate balance to find, isn't there? You've got these classic, almost fairy tale-like traditions that we've all seen in movies and stuff. But then you've also got what feels authentic and relevant in today's world. How do you navigate all of that?
That's a really good observation. While some of those traditional elements, like the whole ring as a symbol of commitment, still hold a lot of meaning for many people, the way proposals actually happen has definitely evolved. Today, there's a much bigger emphasis on personalization. It's less about following some rigid script and more about shaping the proposal to fit the couple's unique dynamic, their shared history, and what they both value.
So no cookie-cutter proposals allowed, it sounds like. Which brings us to something really important. Trying to figure out what your partner is actually hoping for. I mean, it's almost like you need to be a mind reader, right?
It can feel that way, definitely. But honesty and open communication, those are your best tools here. While some people might have dreamt of a grand surprise proposal, the kind you see in the movies, others might feel more at ease if they've had some conversations beforehand about where the relationship is headed and whether marriage is even on the table. The level of surprise that feels right really varies from person to person.
So the element of complete surprise, it's not always the be-all and end-all we sometimes make it out to be.
Not necessarily. Some people love the shock and awe, the unexpectedness. But for others, especially those who value open communication and making decisions together, being completely blindsided, especially with something as big as marriage, can be a bit unsettling. Having had some broader conversations about your future doesn't take away the romance. In fact, it can often make the proposal feel even more grounded and like something you both truly want.
What about the ring itself? It's such a loaded symbol. Is that still a huge expectation for most people?
Again, expectations are all over the place. For some, the engagement ring is still this incredibly important and traditional symbol of commitment. For others, they might appreciate a ring, but the real focus is on the emotion of the proposal itself, that heartfelt promise being made. And then you've got people who might prefer different symbols altogether or even want to choose a ring together as a couple. The best approach is to try and subtly gauge your partner's feelings, maybe through casual conversations or seeing how they react when other people get engaged.
And then there's the whole public versus private debate, grand gesture versus intimate moment. That feels like another big one to figure out.
Definitely. Some people have always pictured themselves being proposed to in a very public way, surrounded by all their friends and family. They feed off of that shared excitement, celebrating with everyone right there in the moment. But then you've got others who would find that absolutely terrifying. They crave a quiet, intimate setting where it's just about the two of them and the meaning of the question being asked. No pressure, no feeling like they're on display.
So how do you figure out if your partner is truly ready for this whole marriage thing? Are there any signs you can look out for?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You might start hearing more conversations about the future, talked about maybe moving in together, shared financial goals, even just casual, positive mentions of friends who've recently gotten engaged or married. You might also notice them being more open to talking about commitment on a deeper level and what marriage means to them.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you're paying attention to both what they're saying and what they're not saying. Looking for those hints that they're in a place where marriage is something they're genuinely thinking about. But how do you even begin to have those conversations without totally giving away that you're about to propose? That seems like a really tricky thing to pull off.
Oh, it is. It is. The key is to keep those initial conversations pretty general. Focus on your shared vision for the future as a couple, not specifically on a proposal timeline. You can talk about your long-term aspirations, your values as a partnership, where you see things going, all without blowing your cover. It's more about gauging their overall readiness and enthusiasm for taking that next step, not spoiling the surprise. And, thinking back on big milestones you've already crossed together can be helpful too. Have you tackled tough decisions together? Overcome challenges? Those shared experiences can be good indicators of whether you're ready for this next chapter.
Okay, so you've done some of that groundwork. You have a sense that your partner is open to the idea and you're feeling ready yourself. Now comes the actual planning. Let's walk through that step by step. Step 1, choosing the right moment. This feels super important.
It really is. Think about dates that already hold meaning. Your anniversary, your first date, any occasion that's special to the two of you. Proposing on a day like that just adds an extra layer of sentimentality, makes it even more meaningful.
What about the big holidays? Christmas, Valentine's Day. Those seem like classic proposal times.
Yeah.
But are they always the best choice?
They can definitely feel romantic, all that festive energy in the air. But it really depends on your partner's personality. Someone who loves grand gestures and all that holiday excitement, it might be perfect. But for someone else, it might feel a bit cliche or even get lost in all the holiday hubbub. Plus, holidays can be stressful, and you don't want that hanging over you when you propose. The important thing is to pick a time that feels natural and relatively stress-free for both of you. Sometimes a completely ordinary day can become extraordinary with a thoughtful and unexpected proposal.
That's a really good point. It shouldn't feel forced or like you're just checking a box on the calendar. Step 2. Picking the location. This is where the visuals really come into play, right?
Absolutely. Think about places that are already woven into your love story. Where did you first meet? Where was your first date? Where did you first say, I love you? Going back to a place like that instantly injects the proposal with meaning.
And what about those classic romantic spots, like a beach at sunset or a mountaintop with a breathtaking view?
Those can definitely be stunning. If your partner loves those kinds of settings, it can be an amazing choice. A nice romantic dinner at a special restaurant is always a classic for a reason too. But also think about places that are unique to you as a couple. If you both love adventure, maybe proposing during a hike or even a hot air balloon ride would be more your style. Or if you're both really into a certain hobby, find a way to incorporate that into the location.
Okay, step 3, private versus public. We touched on this a little earlier, but how do you really make that decision for your partner?
This one really boils down to your partner's personality. Are they someone who loves being the center of attention, someone who thrives in social settings and doesn't mind everyone looking at them? Or are they more introverted and private, maybe a bit shy about public displays of affection? Think about how they've reacted in the past when they've been the focus of attention. If they tend to shrink away from the spotlight, even the most loving public proposal might make them feel uncomfortable or put on the spot.
So getting that perfect Instagram-worthy shot shouldn't be the top priority.
Definitely not. While a public proposal might get more likes on social media, your main focus should always be on creating a moment that feels authentic and comfortable for your partner. Public proposals are great for sharing the joy and celebrating with a big group right away, but private proposals offer that intimacy, that chance to connect without any distractions or feeling like you're being watched. It's about what makes your partner feel loved and cherished in that moment.
Right. Now, step 4, the engagement ring. This can feel like a whole other world to navigate.
Oh, it can be overwhelming, that's for sure. If you've decided a ring is the way to go, there are a few things to keep in mind. Learning about the 4 C's of diamond's cut, color, clarity, and carat weight can be a good place to start if you're thinking about a diamond. But beyond the technical stuff, it's about understanding your partner's taste. Have they ever mentioned liking a certain style of jewelry? Do they lean towards classic designs or something more modern and unique? Pay attention to the jewelry they already wear. It'll give you clues.
And how do you figure out their ring size without them knowing? That feels like something out of a spy movie.
There are a few sneaky tricks you can try. One classic move is to borrow one of their rings, preferably one they wear on the right hand, and take it to a jeweler to get it sized. You could also ask a close friend or family member to subtly bring it up in conversation or even suggest going ring shopping together just for fun. Or, if you're feeling brave, try tracing the inside of one of their rings on a piece of paper when they're not looking.
Pretty smart. What about the money part? The budget. It feels like there's so much pressure to spend a certain amount.
The most important thing is to choose a ring that fits your budget comfortably. Don't put yourself in a tough spot financially. There's this old idea that you have to spend a certain percentage of your salary, but that's outdated and often just not realistic. Focus on finding a beautiful ring that you can afford and that you know your partner will love. And remember, there are gorgeous, ethically sourced alternatives to diamonds out there. Moissanites, sapphires, or even a custom ring with other meaningful gemstones. The real value is in the sentiment behind the ring, not the price tag.
Absolutely. Okay, step 5. Planning what you're going to say, the actual words. This is the part that makes me nervous just thinking about it.
It's a big moment, for sure, full of emotion, but it's also this beautiful opportunity to express your love and commitment in your own words. Some people like to write it all out beforehand, really crafting their thoughts and feelings into words. Others prefer to speak from the heart in the moment. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but it's always a good idea to have a general sense of what you want to say.
What are some of the things you think are important to include in your proposal speech, whether it's written down or off the cuff?
It's always a nice touch to start by talking about your journey together. Maybe share a special memory, a moment when you realized they were the one, or just express how much they've enriched your life. Then really articulate why you want to marry them. What qualities do you admire in them? What kind of future do you see building together? And of course, you've got to actually ask the question, will you marry me? In a way that feels natural and true to you.
How do you even practice something like that without sounding like a robot when the time comes?
Practice in front of a mirror, or maybe with a close friend or family member who can give you feedback. The goal isn't to memorize a script word for word, but to get comfortable with the flow of your thoughts and the emotions you want to convey. It'll boost your confidence and help you feel more relaxed when the real deal happens.
Step 6. Capturing the moment. This seems to be getting more and more common these days.
It definitely is. For a lot of couples, having that visual record of their proposal is something they really cherish. You could hire a professional photographer or videographer to discreetly capture everything as it unfolds. Or, if it's a more private proposal, maybe set up a hidden camera beforehand. You could even ask a trusted friend or family member to be your designated documentarian for the event.
What are some things to keep in mind if you decide to go the camera route?
Think about the lighting where you're proposing and the angle you want to capture. If you're hiring a pro, they'll usually handle that stuff. But if you're doing it yourself, make sure the lighting is good and the camera's positioned to capture both of your faces and reactions. And if you're working with a photographer, talk to them beforehand about whether you want them to stay completely hidden until after you pop the question, or if it's okay for them to come out and take some posed pictures right after.
Okay, last but not least, step 7, the backup plan. This might sound a little unromantic, but it's probably really wise, right?
Oh, it's essential. Things happen, and even the best laid plans can go awry. What if you're planning an outdoor proposal and it starts pouring? Having a backup indoor spot can save the day. What if your partner's having a rough day or isn't feeling well? Being ready to postpone shows you're considerate. A backup plan helps you feel prepared, reduces stress, and ensures that even if something unexpected happens, you can still make it a special moment.
That's some good advice. Okay, let's move on to the fun stuff. Unique and creative proposal ideas. We've talked about some of the more traditional approaches, but what are some out-of-the-box, memorable ways to do it?
Beyond the fancy dinner and the beach at sunset, there are so many ways to make it personal. Surprise proposals, done right, can be amazing. Imagine organizing a flash mob with your friends and family, dancing to a song that means something to you as a couple. Or if you have a pet, you could carefully attach the ring to their collar for a cute surprise. Just always make sure the animal's safe and comfortable, of course. A hidden message in a book you both love, a custom piece of artwork that subtly reveals the proposal, or even a video montage of your time together can be super touching.
I love those personal touches. Recreating your first date, down to the last detail, and then proposing at the end, that's just so sweet.
It is, isn't it? A scavenger hunt, leading your partner to different places that hold meaning, with the final clue ending with you and the ring, that can be really fun and memorable. Or a beautifully designed scrapbook or photo album that tells your story, with the last page being the "Will you marry me?" question. Not just a proposal, but a keepsake they can keep forever.
And what about destination proposals? Those always seem so glamorous and romantic.
They can be amazing, for sure. Proposing in a place like Paris or Venice, or against a backdrop like the Grand Canyon or the Swiss Alps, that can create a truly unforgettable experience. Even something closer to home, like proposing at the top of a mountain after a hike or during a hot air balloon ride, adds a sense of adventure. Just make sure it's a place that means something to both of you and fits your travel style. And don't forget the logistics of getting the ring there safely.
Wow, so many great ideas. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about what not to do. What are some common proposal mistakes that can lead to awkwardness or disappointment?
One of the biggest ones is proposing without having had any real conversations about marriage beforehand. The specific proposal can be a surprise, but the idea of getting married shouldn't come out of nowhere. Proposing too early, before you've built a solid foundation and talked about your long-term goals, is another pitfall.
It makes sense. You want to be on the same page about where the relationship is headed before you take that big leap. What else should people watch out for?
Always, always put your partner's personality and preferences first. Not everyone wants a big public spectacle. Tailor the style and setting to what you know they'll love. Another mistake is proposing at a time when your partner's stressed, distracted, not feeling well, or just not in the right headspace. Timing matters.
What are the more practical side of things? Are there any logistical nightmares to avoid?
Oh, definitely. Not thinking through the logistics can lead to some awkward moments.
Yeah.
This could be anything from bad lighting for photos to not having the right ring size to just messing up the timing in a way that ruins the mood. And finally, don't get so caught up in trying to create a picture-perfect, Instagram-worthy moment that you lose sight of the heart of it all, the connection between you and your partner, and the sincere expression of your commitment.
That's so important. It's about the why behind the proposal, not just the how. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the deep meaning of proposals, the different expectations people have, the practical steps of planning it all out, and even some creative ideas to get you inspired. And of course, we've also talked about some of the things to avoid.
It's important to remember that at its core, a proposal is a deeply personal moment. It's about understanding your partner, choosing a way to express your love and commitment that feels authentic, and creating a memory you'll both cherish.
So take a moment to think about what really resonated with you today. What kind of proposal would feel right for your relationship? What little detail could you add to make it truly yours?
This deep dive should give you a good starting point, whether you're actively planning a proposal or just exploring the complexities of relationships and commitment.
And now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on surprise proposals versus having those conversations beforehand? What's the most creative proposal you've ever heard of? What are some of those unspoken expectations surrounding proposals? We'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this and more.